Hi, it's me today with my first voiceover, and I'm going to be reviewing the H1-Hera sent to me by Hephboard, and it came in this big wrap. Okay, so this is a 75% TKL, and it supports RGB. It has RGB, it has a great battery, and it supports Windows and Mac. It's also Bluetooth, and it has a metal knob because we all love knobs. Opening it up, there is a note that they sent me, which is really sweet of them, and inside there is a big card that tells you general information, and then beneath that there's a manual, and there's the actual keyboard itself. So the packaging is really nice for a prototype keyboard that they sent me, and I am assuming the package will be better when it actually ships out to people, because my box came a little dented, but the overall packaging is pretty good. And other than the keyboard, they have a USB-C cable, they have a switch and keycap puller, and also they have some extra keycaps for Windows compatibility. Alright, so here's a closer look at the H1-Hera, and you can see on the top right there are 3 indicators for caps lock, the knob mode, and the battery status. Alright, so here are Hephboard's proprietary Hall effect void switches. I got mine in a silent red model, so it's pretty quiet and it doesn't have much spring ping or crunch, and it's really smooth because there isn't a spring leaf. I will compare these to stock tangerines in smoothness, so they're really smooth stock, and you can see the inlet for the magnet there. And if you want to learn more about these switches and how this is used, I would recommend checking out Keyboard's video on this keyboard, linked in the description. So the USB-C port for this keyboard is located on the right side of the keyboard, along with all the other switches and indicators. And if you want to put this keyboard on Bluetooth mode, you're gonna have to turn it around and flip the switch to the Bluetooth mode, and then you're going to want to hold down FN and the desired Bluetooth number of your choice for 3 seconds, and it'll flash a blinking white light, and then you can connect it to your device. Now let's talk about the keyboard's sound. So this has silent reds in it, and it is a hot swappable model, but I don't have any other switches provided, so I'm gonna have to go with the silent reds. So these sound like any other generic silent switch, but there is a dampener on the bottom of the stem, but not a dampener on the top of the stem. So the upstroke will be slightly louder than the downstroke, and I found that the upstroke of this keyboard specifically, I don't know about others, but the upstroke for this model that was provided was just as loud as any other normal keyboard without silent switches. But the downstroke is pretty quiet. It's generally a good sound profile, but I like to go back to my other keyboard every once in a while just to get a new feel and sound, just to like refresh my ears. I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. And here's a quick sound test for about 2 seconds. Take a listen. And here's a quick sound comparison between the H1-Hera with silent reds and my other keyboard with tangerine switches in them. Now, because Hephboard's void switches are analog capable, it can measure the distance between the stem and the sensor itself, which means that it can have the feature of adjusting its actuation. And the H1-Hera makes almost full use of this, and you can adjust the actuation point between 0.8 millimeters and 3.6 millimeters. But when I tried this out in real life after I got the keyboard, I really didn't notice much of a difference between the lowest setting and the highest setting, because even though it's the difference between the lowest and highest setting. It's only off by a couple millimeters, so I didn't really feel the difference. And I have reported this to Hephboard, and they said they would be fixing this issue because they agreed as well. And I hope that this will actually be implemented in future boards that'll be shipped out to the general public. Now let's talk about the battery on this keyboard. So this is a 8,000 milliamp hour battery, which is really good for a battery, let alone a battery on a wireless keyboard. And its expected battery life was about 4 months without the use of RGB, which is incredible. But when I actually tested it, I only got about a month or so of battery life without RGB. And even though the H1-Hera had some battery saving features like shutting off completely after 1 minute of not using it, I still noticed that it felt like it was losing battery even though I wasn't using it for a very long period of time. Maybe this has to do with indicator lights, or maybe the sensors that are not working properly. I don't know, but Hephboard also said they will be fixing this issue on future boards, so hopefully that issue is resolved. But enough with the things that I did not like about the keyboard. I have a lot of things I liked about it as well. First of all, I love that the keyboard came with a USB-C to USB-C cable with the C to USB-A adapter. So if you had a Mac, you wouldn't need to use an alternative adapter to connect your keyboard. And if you're a Windows user, you can still use your USB-A port with your adapter. I thought it was really cool, and it was really smart of Hephboard to do that. In addition, you can connect up to 3 Bluetooth devices at the same time with this keyboard, and switch between them seamlessly by pressing the 1 or 2 or 3 Bluetooth keys on the right side of the keyboard. I would say the placement on these keys are a little weird because I think they could have been used for better keys like page up, page down, maybe control the actuation, or have them as a macro key that users can set up with software. But, you know, it is what it is. And I like the benefit that you can switch between them so easily and so quickly at the same time. I also really like the build quality of this keyboard because the shell was made out of aerospace grade aluminum, and the knob gave tactile feedback, and it also clicked really well. Also, the use of Hall effect switches meant that they were contactless, and that could provide up to 2 times the durability of normal mechanical MX switches, which is definitely a great plus for the value as well. I also really liked the stabilizers on this keyboard, and even though they were plate mounted, they were still really good. So there was minimal rattle on the spacebar, and there was only a bit of ticking on the other modifier keys. And I would compare this to a stock Red Dragon keyboard stabilizer. If you know what those sound like, those are like generally pretty good, and they don't really have much rattle at all. So I would say these stabilizers are like amazing stock. Overall, I'd say this is a great keyboard for your money. And speaking of, let's talk about the pricing of the keyboard. So this keyboard is on Kickstarter right now, and if you were the earliest backers of the Kickstarter, you can get this keyboard for $99 as a super early bird reward. And if you pledged $129, you can get the early bird offer, and that's only if you pledged in the beginning of the Kickstarter as well. And I think the normal price for the H1-Hera is $159, which still isn't bad considering all the benefits you get from this keyboard. And if you pay $250, you can get 2 of them. I don't know why. If you want to give one to someone else, that'll be a $50 discount technically, and that will be the price. And I really don't get it. It's really confusing for me. So if it's confusing for you as well, I would recommend checking out their Kickstarter website and the FAQ channel in their Discord server, and I'll have them linked in the description as well. And those were my thoughts on the H1-Hera from Hephboard. If you are still here, thank you for watching and listening to my terrible voiceover, and I will leave you with one extra final sound test. Bye bye.